For all 3 years of high school, I dutifully played the role of the heiress's sidekick. Even when others mocked me as her lapdog, I never got angry. On the night of our graduation party, I was just messing around with classmates in a paper-tearing game when she suddenly turned cold. "We're done," she said. Later, drunk and flushed with charm, she clung tightly to my hand, unwilling to let go. "Do you really not get it?" she asked, eyes hazy. "I'll be your dog if you want. Just don't ignore me." Jennifer Delaney earned the nickname heiress the day military training ended. She strutted across the field in a floral dress and sunglasses, catching everyone's eye. Behind her stood 3 bodyguards, one dragging her suitcase, another holding a portable fan, and the third holding an umbrella over her head. As she passed by the rest of us, sunburned and halfway to becoming desert mummies, she stood out like a misplaced celebrity. We truly met on the day Kristen gave her a hard time. Jennifer had arrived late and was organizing her desk, while I happened to return to the classroom to grab my water bottle just in time to catch the whole drama unfold. Kristen let her hand slip, dumping her entire bottle of water onto Jennifer's dress. She smirked. "Oops, my bad. Clumsy me." Jennifer frowned and stared at her soaked dress for a long time before saying seriously, "This dress isn't water-resistant. You'll have to replace it." Kristen froze, clearly not expecting that response, then burst out laughing. "You seriously think you're some rich girl now? Can't get a dress wet? What a joke!" Jennifer gave Kristen a slow once-over, eyes full of genuine disdain, and sighed softly. "Forget it. You couldn't afford it anyway." The moment she said it, Kristen snapped. "Quit pretending. That thing doesn't even have a tag. Trying to pass off knockoffs as designer?" She shoved Jennifer hard. The girl stumbled and barely caught herself on a desk. I don't know what got into me, but I stood up like some righteous hero. "She's right. You really can't afford it." I walked to my seat, took a sip of water, pulled a small catalog from my desk, flipped a few pages, and showed it to Kristen. Classic piece from Brand A. 5 digits. Kristen relaxed a little and laughed. Probably a fake. I closed the catalog and pointed at the shoes worn by the model on the cover. "She's wearing these, latest season. You can't fake this kind of detail." Jennifer looked annoyed, clicked her tongue, and said to Kristen, "I already told you it's out of your league. Why keep pushing it?" Kristen shot me a glare, muttered "lapdog," and stormed out of the classroom. Too scared to go after the heiress, so she took it out on me instead? Jennifer came up to me then. She didn't seem like someone who often made the first move. Chin lifted slightly, she asked, "Hey, do you know a lot about fashion?" I shook my head honestly. She looked puzzled and pointed at the catalog. "Then why do you buy books like this?" I pulled out another book from my desk, a cheesy CEO romance novel. "Bought this one at the newsstand. They gave that catalog away with it." After the incident with Kristen, my reputation as a lapdog was firmly established. But Jennifer didn't seem to understand what others were saying. She'd often cross her arms, raise her chin, and order, "Jessica, go get me some water." Stuff like that really cemented the nickname. Not that I minded. She was nothing like the cold, spoiled heiress people thought she was. "Jessica, can you even wear those shoes in PE?" I stared at my Nike sneakers, unsure why she insisted I wear those ridiculous rubber tire shoes from Baba's brand. "Jessica, is that all you're having for lunch?" I had a balanced, healthy meal, but she just shoved her platinum meal card at me. "Use this. Get whatever you want." "Jessica, where'd you get that outfit? It's so ugly it takes skill to be that hideous." She rummaged through her closet, muttering to herself. "This one's no good, makes you look dark. This one's fine, makes your legs look longer." This one, I finally pushed back. "I have clothes. You don't need to waste money on me. They're all PR samples. Didn't cost a thing," she said, giving me a look like I was an idiot. "Didn't those CEO novels you read teach you anything?" "Fine. I was broke. and it showed. That day, I teared up while rubbing a black ribbon-labeled bottle on my skin, thinking it was body lotion, only to see her call her mom and ask for more of the same. My mom owns shares in that company. If you like it, just say so. I had to admit, being a lapdog felt amazing. Clinging to Jennifer's arm, I grinned and declared, "Miss Heiress, I'd be your dog for life." But of course, I still had to bring up her infamous debut. "So, Heiress, what's with the 3 bodyguards during military training?" Jennifer looked a little embarrassed. She burrowed into her blanket, covering herself completely. "I crashed into a flower pot riding my bike at home. Needed 3 stitches on my forehead. Doctor said to avoid water. So my dad got people to fan me, in case I sweat." I slapped my thigh, laughing loudly. Who crashes into a weight? I lifted the blanket, sat up straight, dead serious. "Where were you riding the bike?" Jennifer poked her head out and replied, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. "At home, of course." I chucked a pillow at her and gritted my teeth. "You rich people are too much!" Jennifer was shy, socially awkward, and didn't know how to express kindness. But it made her weirdly endearing, like that felt star plushie she casually dropped on my desk on my birthday. Made it myself. "This one's defective. You can have it." Chin still raised high, acting like it was nothing. It was a yellow 5-pointed star with 2 googly eyes stitched on, adorable. "Thanks." I was genuinely touched that she remembered my birthday. "Why thank me?" "Ugh, I think it's kinda ugly, actually. Maybe you should just toss it." She looked awkward, wouldn't meet my eyes, and reached for it again. I quickly shoved it into my pocket and smiled. "It's not ugly. I like it." "Oh, then it's yours," she said with a wave, heading back to her seat. "Told you your taste sucks. Ugly people like ugly things." But I noticed the tiny pricks on her fingers from the needlework. Thin, dense, but fingers are sensitive. It must have hurt. Warmth surged in my chest. I attached the star to my keychain and carried it in my pocket every day. When she saw it, she asked with a forced nonchalance, "Isn't it too ugly to hang so openly? Aren't you scared people will laugh?" I answered seriously, "I don't think it's ugly. It's cute." I glanced at her out of the corner of my eye, and sure enough, I caught the fleeting look of pride on her face. She was always like that, awkward, but adorable. Jennifer discovered this obscure chat app and insisted we use it to talk. But honestly, high school students barely had time to be on their phones. Most of the time, it was just her sending messages while I replied every now and then. She'd pout and complain, "I don't even know what you're so busy with after school. You never reply to me." Studying, of course, I thought a little bitterly. Unlike her, I had to worry about the college entrance exams. Even if her grades were bad, her family had already paved the way for her to study abroad. That's when I started to realize we were fundamentally different. Still, we joked and bickered our way through it. When we split into science and liberal arts tracks in senior year, I chose science and Jennifer chose liberal arts. We were no longer in the same class, not even the same dorm, but I knew she wouldn't bother making new friends. I still ran up 2 floors after class to wait outside her classroom. Once, the teacher held us late. When I finally arrived, she wouldn't even look at me, just muttered under her breath, "What took you so long?" A true heiress keeps everything bottled up and never takes her anger out on me. During the final semester of senior year, time got tighter, and we only had half a day off per week. I used it to take Jennifer to the nearby snack street, letting her try all kinds of local treats she'd never had before. Eventually, her body gave out. Jennifer came down with acute gastroenteritis, yet she stubbornly refused to rest. I had no choice but to shuttle back and forth between the cafeteria and her dorm to bring her meals. Jennifer's just got a bit of money, and Jessica's really out here playing her lapdog? Kristen laughed loudly behind my back, chatting with someone nearby. I didn't react and just walked away. Jennifer lay weakly in bed, reached out a limp arm, and tugged on my sleeve. "I can't get up. Feed me," she pouted. Then she opened her mouth wide. Ah, classic heiress-level whining. I had no choice but to sit beside her and take care of the patient. Watching her pout and whine about how bored she was alone in the dorm, I realized something. While I was taking care of her, she was healing me too. She wasn't like the rest of us seniors, suffocating under the weight of the college entrance exam. She was still that bright, carefree girl I first saw during military training in our first year alive. Adorable, worry-free. Time flew by. On the day of the exam, everyone lined up along the corridor, tossing their textbooks down in celebration, ignoring the loudspeaker threats from the disciplinarian. Jennifer leaned over the railing, eyes sparkling as she watched me throw book after book. "Is it fun?" she asked. I didn't answer, just handed her a book. "Try it." And then I saw her happiest smile ever. "Jessica, I think I finally get why you were laughing." But since we had to estimate our scores the next day, we weren't off the hook yet. That night, someone brought a few beers into the dorm and we played Truth or Dare. Rip paper. If you run out, pass it on. The one who gets the last piece drinks. Our dorm leader was already tipsy and laughing like crazy. I counted the people and had a feeling I'd probably be the one drinking. When it got to the person before me, only a tiny strip of paper was left. I sighed. "I'll drink." "Come on, just try it. I think it'll work." The dorm leader stopped me. I took a close look. The strip was torn to shreds, soaked around the edges. I leaned in slowly, trying to find a way to grab it. "Jessica!" Suddenly I heard Jennifer's voice. I turned around and saw her standing at the dorm door, eyes red, chest heaving, holding a cake box. "We're done. You're disgusting." She slammed the cake onto the floor and ran off. The room fell silent. The floor was splattered with white cream. Someone stepped on it without seeing, leaving a black shoe print. I quickly got up to chase her, but Jennifer stopped abruptly, turned around, and said, "Don't bother. We're done." She was furious, already in tears. "It was just a stupid game, not some sleazy thing like you're imagining," I tried to explain. "Sleazy?" She suddenly calmed down, her voice lower now. "Forget it, Jessica. We're just not the same kind of people." I had no idea what she was mad about, but she was right, we weren't the same. She had her parents paving the way, while I only had myself. If not for that luxury fashion magazine, our paths would never have crossed. I understood her awkwardness, tolerated her backhanded words, but she never once saw me as her equal. "Fine. Then it's over. This is the proposal you wrote? Do you have any idea how many favors I pulled to get that client? I heard you clocked out right on the dot yesterday afternoon. Maybe try looking at your own performance? No wonder someone your age is still stuck at staff level." A blue folder slammed hard on the table, scattering A4 pages everywhere with a loud smack. I flinched, my hands clenched into fists, knuckles turning white. In front of me was a familiar face, Kristen. After finally shaking her off during 4 years of college, she'd become my boss. Seeing me silent, she doubled down. "What are you staring at? Pick up the damn papers." She really seemed to enjoy tormenting me. I pressed my lips together and crouched down, quietly picking up every single scattered page. "Didn't you used to be great at playing the lapdog back in high school? Started using designer brands way too young? How are you even worse off now?" She stepped on the paper I was reaching for, blocking me. "Sucking up takes talent. You had it, but you wasted it all on that heiress." What was her name again? Jennifer? I still said nothing, just yanked the paper out from under her foot and walked out of Kristen's office without looking back. I went straight to my desk. I hated it when people mentioned Jennifer's name. It was like a reflex. Kristen wasn't wrong. I wasn't cut out for brown-nosing in the workplace. I only ever lowered my head for Jennifer. After graduation, everyone went their separate ways. Occasionally, someone would share updates in our old group chat, mostly just humble brags. Jennifer moved out of the dorm that same night we fought. She didn't even show up for the score estimation. It wasn't until I heard others talk about her that I realized she never cared about exam results. Her parents had already secured her a spot at a foreign university. They were just waiting for the exam to be over before sending her abroad. Back then, I was still obsessing over our fight, lying sleepless on my cramped wooden dorm bed, reliving every detail of that night. I couldn't understand why she got so angry over a silly game. We were all girls, and I'd done nothing improper. But when I heard about her studying abroad, I finally felt a little better. We weren't the same. We saw the world through completely different lenses. I couldn't understand her, and I didn't expect her to understand me. I went on with life as usual, filled out college applications, got into a second-tier 211 university, not too far from home, and majored in something thoroughly ordinary. In my mind, that was just what normal people were supposed to do. In those ordinary days, I still thought about Jennifer from time to time. Whenever I scrolled past posts about studying abroad, I couldn't help but read them from top to bottom. I'd wonder if she really didn't have access to spicy hot pot or street food over there. I'd wonder if someone ever turned her into a viral PDF meme. But I had no experience with that kind of life. How could I possibly imagine it? Forget it. If I couldn't understand, I might as well not think about it. She cut ties with me over a silly game. Why should I still care? I shook my head, trying to toss out the mess in my brain. Just as I'd found a groove and was about to work late on the report, I heard a voice nearby. The receptionist came click-clacking over in heels, face full of urgency. "Jessica, quick! There's a big client here to see you!" I found it strange clients were usually handled by Kristen. They only came to me if they needed reports. Maybe the confusion showed on my face, because the receptionist added eagerly, "The client specifically asked for you. This could be a huge commission." Her tone was over-the-top excited. Seeing that I still hadn't moved, she started describing the person's appearance. "I think you know her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have asked for you by name." "She's really pretty." She brought several bodyguards and was speaking fluent English on her Bluetooth while talking to me. Total high-end type. I was certain I didn't know any high-end types, let alone someone fluent in English, except Jennifer. It was like the fog cleared in an instant. I stopped her mid-sentence, grabbed her wrist, and asked, "What's her last name?" She squinted as she tried to recall, then answered confidently, "Delaney." That was it. I didn't wait another second. I turned and ran straight toward the reception room. Kristen wasn't there. I could only see a blurry figure through the glass. A petite silhouette, long wavy hair cascading to her waist, standing by the floor-to-ceiling window on a call. I took a deep breath to calm the pounding in my chest. The moment I pushed open the door, she hung up. She turned to face me, and our eyes met, or rather, I met her sunglasses. Her already small face was half covered. She reached up to remove them and walked straight toward me. "Jessica, long time no see." Her smile was easy and open, like I was the only one still stuck in the past. I didn't know how to respond to that kind of warmth. I felt awkward and unsure. But the next second, she threw her arms around me, holding me tightly. Her perfume smelled nice. I guess food really isn't that great abroad. She was all bones, her hair much longer now. But in that moment, with her arms wrapped around me, it felt like we were back in senior year. The bell had just rung, and I was leaning against the railing outside her classroom, waiting for her just like old times. The sunlight slipped through the blinds and hit my eyes. After a brief flash of blindness came a wave of bitterness I couldn't quite name. Was it my eyes or my heart? The receptionist, sensing the awkwardness, brought over a cup of hot tea, breaking the tension at just the right moment. She paused when she saw the scene, then casually said, "Jessica, looks like this lady's an old friend of yours. How come we've never heard you mention her?" I smiled awkwardly, unsure how to explain. But Jennifer pulled me over to the sofa with ease, draping her arms over my shoulders like it was the most natural thing in the world. She never mentioned me? Must have forgotten all about me already. She picked up the teacup and took a sip, pouting playfully. I just stared at the cup. It was Xiao Qinggan, my favorite tea. She used to never touch it. Time really does change people. The receptionist perked up, clearly interested, and nudged me to spill the story. It's rare to stay in touch with high school friends after graduation. Come on, Jessica. Tell me what fun stuff you guys got up to back then. Just small talk, really. But Jennifer seemed to take it seriously. She started recounting everything between us from the beginning, her eyes full of longing for the past. Every few sentences, she'd reach out and shake my shoulder. Jessica, come on. You remember this, right? I nodded, going along. She didn't like my lukewarm reaction. Pouting again, she turned to the receptionist and said, "Don't mind her. She's always had that deadpan face. Doesn't know how to smile." I was starting to get annoyed with her act. She probably didn't miss the old days, probably didn't even miss me. She just didn't want to acknowledge that we'd already cut ties. Since the moment she walked through that door, she hadn't asked how I'd been. Just like always, she put herself at the center of everything, expecting everyone else to orbit around her. Finally, after another burst of laughter between her and the receptionist, I couldn't take it anymore. I did something even I didn't expect. I reached out and grabbed her wrist, yanking her hand away from the teacup. "Didn't you used to hate Xiao Qinggan?" For a moment, the room fell silent. But that wasn't what I really wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, weren't you here to see me? The receptionist quickly stood up with an awkward smile and said she'd go brew another cup of tea. After the door clicked shut, we were alone in the room. Jennifer forcefully pulled her hand back, refusing to meet my gaze. "Why are you here? Didn't you say we were done?" As soon as I said it, I could hear my own heartbeat. "Yeah, we are. I just came to see how far you'd fallen." Jennifer glared at me, unyielding. "Oh, so now that you've seen how miserable I am, you happy?" I pushed the teacup further away and, by habit, glanced at her hand. When she was upset, she'd pick at her hangnails until her whole hand was raw. Her hand was clean. Somehow, that made me feel calmer. "Jessica, do you have to be so ungrateful?" Jennifer was getting upset. "I saw you struggling, so I came with a big deal. I wanted you to finally shine in this shitty company. I don't need it." My voice was barely above a whisper. She didn't seem to hear. She frowned and leaned in. "What?" I sat up straighter and gave her a small smile, even though my eyes were already wet. "I don't need your charity." "Why?" Her voice cracked. "Why would you think that about me?" I lowered my head, hiding behind my hair so I wouldn't have to see her teary eyes. "You're too much, Jennifer. Too all over the place. You became my best friend out of nowhere, then dropped me just as suddenly. Left for another country without warning, never called, not even once. I'm not a toy you can pick up when you feel like it and toss aside when you're done. The least you could do is treat me like a human being." That sentence seemed to hit a nerve. She suddenly stood up, stumbled, and nearly fell. Out of reflex, I reached out to steady her, but she shook me off hard. Wiping the tears from her face with the back of her hand, she hissed like a cornered kitten and threw out a line that wasn't quite cruel, but still cut deep. "Jessica, I hate you." Jennifer's reappearance felt like a fleeting interlude in my otherwise ordinary life. After she left, I returned to my grueling 996 grind like any other corporate drone. But that was just how it looked to others. Only I knew how hard it rained inside me that day, how a downpour named longing quietly spread. I thought if I kept my head down, played nice, and did everything by the book, I could keep my job. But I underestimated Kristen. The deal with Jennifer fell through, and the receptionist reported it truthfully to Kristen. That month's bonus was gone, and I was held up as an example at the all-hands meeting for public self-criticism. In this company where everyone's a fair-weather friend, of course all the crap jobs fell to me. "Jessica, print this. We need it for the meeting. The boss's kids' school just announced a sudden closure. You go pick him up. Under a scorching 40-degree sun, I weaved through the city on an e-bike to bring the boss's kid to the office. The office was deep in its lunch nap mode. It was quiet inside. My desk was right there, yet it felt like there was no place for me at all. I left without a word, bought a bun from a convenience store, and squatted by the curb to eat. That's when I realized I was really tired. I stayed squatting until lunch break was over. Then I stood up, dusted the crumbs from my hands, and thought, forget it. I'm done. In the elevator back up, I ran into Kristen. She gave me a long, meaningful look. After stepping out, she said, "Come to my office." "Jessica, be honest. I've treated you pretty well, haven't I? In times this hard, when a client walks through the door on their own, you actually pushed them away. Tell me, shouldn't I criticize you so you'll learn your lesson?" And here we go again, the same old manipulative crap. I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to fight back with silence. Kristen's phone pinged. She frowned and opened something, then let out a mocking laugh. She held up a photo for me to see. So it was her, huh? The photo showed the visitor log, and there it was, that name I knew all too well, Jennifer. You've got some skills, I'll give you that. After all this time, you still got her to come find you. Jessica, I didn't expect this from you. You really do know how to be a good little dog. Even got your master missing you. Her face was full of ridicule as she stared at me, all sarcasm and scorn. I pressed my lips together, ready to spit out the words I'd rehearsed 1,000 times. But before I could speak, the office door flew open with a loud bang. I turned around, barely registering who it was before a hand reached out and yanked me behind her. Who do you think you are to talk about her like that? 5'3" Jennifer stood firmly in front of me, refusing to budge. Kristen's expression changed. What are you doing here? If you're here to talk business, then welcome. But if... Jennifer cut her off impatiently. Me? You still don't get it? I'm here to back her up. As soon as she said that, Kristen snapped back into her composed demeanor. Since Jennifer wasn't trying to cause a scene, she naturally didn't want the company in chaos either. Tony, the lawyer. Jennifer, not bothering to argue further, waved behind her. A bespectacled man stepped forward, adjusting his glasses. I've documented everything you just said. If necessary, I'll file a lawsuit on behalf of my client. I looked at Jennifer in surprise. You brought a lawyer? Yeah. Might as well use him since he's free, she said smugly. Then, seeing my slightly awkward expression, she added softly, He's from our company's legal department. Doesn't cost me anything. I chuckled, speechless. Kristen clearly didn't expect Jennifer to come prepared. She was stunned. Tony opened a thick folder and flipped through it page by page in front of her. Here's proof you used my client's after-hours time without compensation. I turned and met Jennifer's darting, slightly guilty eyes. You followed me? She looked away, unable to meet my gaze, and started picking at her fingers. I saw how they were treating you here. I couldn't take it. Even I never treated you like that. Who gave them the right? What, did you sell yourself to this company or something? Her voice got louder and louder, hands on hips, glaring at me with righteous fury. I sighed and shook my head. How could I blame her? I reached out and gently touched her fingers. Stop picking. You're bleeding. Here's proof of unpaid insurance and contract violations. And this. Tony spoke fast and clearly, but a crowd had already gathered, catching key phrases with precision. Unpaid insurance? What's that about? The bolder employees started shouting. The whole office was packed. Kristen, now flustered, tried hard to calm everyone down, but it was no use. Low pay, heavy workload, forced overtime, everyone was full of resentment. One mid-level manager couldn't possibly hold it all down. Calm and collected, Tony quoted legal articles one after another. Based on this, I will be filing a lawsuit against your company. Kristen was caught between a rock and a hard place. Either pay me the owed overtime and insurance and face the wrath of the staff, or fire me and pay compensation. After a long pause, she chose the latter. After I received the settlement, Jennifer shot me a smug little smirk and raised her brows, clearly fishing for praise. I was about to say something when Kristen, not ready to give up, spat, "Some people know how to get ahead. Others just need to play the dog and still end up filthy rich." I sensed Jennifer's temper spike. The next second, she grabbed her luxury handbag and charged forward. She looked like an angry cat with all its fur standing on end. I quickly wrapped my arms around her waist to stop her. "It's okay. It's okay." "Don't let her get to you." After calming her down, I turned to Kristen and said clearly, "Being Jennifer's dog was the best decision I, Jessica, ever made in this lifetime." As we walked out of that stifling office building, Jennifer slipped her finger into my palm like she used to. Her hand was still small, soft, and baby smooth, like it had soaked in lotion her whole life. Mine, after days and nights of labor, had grown a thin layer of callus, two souls that were never meant to intersect. Yet our bodies met again in this fleeting touch. Jennifer broke the silence first. "That thing you said back there, was that a love confession? You're insane." "Can't even take a compliment. Anyway, I'm taking you to a Michelin 3-star restaurant tonight. How's that for treating you right?" "Okay. You don't know how pitiful you looked that day, sitting on the sidewalk eating a convenience store bun. I almost cried for you. After you left, I bought one too. It was awful. I don't know how you managed to eat it." "And it was so hot that day, and you didn't even think to sit in the shade." "Jessica, you're such an idiot." Don't do that again, okay? People might think I'm abusing my friends." Can you say something else? All you ever do is, Are you a broken record?" "Jennifer." Thank you." Our class reunion was a long-standing tradition. We had one every year. I only went the year we graduated. That was where I first found out Jennifer had gone abroad. Since then, I never accepted another invitation. But this year, when I got the invite, I only hesitated for a moment before saying yes. Jennifer said this was her first time attending a reunion in all these years, so she had to dress to the nines. She hired a top-tier makeup artist and had a whole look prepared. I was sitting on the couch flipping through a magazine when she pushed me into the stylist's chair. I panicked and tried to stand, but the stylist was clearly ready. She pressed me down firmly. "Relax, don't be nervous. I'm really good at this." Jennifer looked smug. She was already done up, wearing a simple satin white dress with sheer accents and a pearl necklace, elegant and refined. The oversized bow in her hair was a stubborn touch the stylist couldn't talk her out of. Do I look like a princess? She lifted her skirt and twirled in front of me, playful as ever. I nodded and let her do as she pleased. By the time we arrived at the restaurant, most people were already there. The table was loud with clinking glasses and overlapping conversations. But Jennifer didn't leave my side for even a second. Every now and then, she'd frown and point at someone. "Who's that?" Luckily, we were seated in a corner, not part of the main social circle of these so-called successful people, and barely drew any attention. That was until I heard my name come up in their conversation. "Jessica? Didn't she stop showing up to reunions years ago?" She was the one who used to follow Jennifer around like a lapdog. I turned slightly to glance at Jennifer, who was busy trying to open a can of Coke without ruining her manicure. In the end, I said nothing. What was the point? Arguing with people who still used high school gossip as party conversation. I remember she licked Jennifer's boots for 3 years. And in the end, Jennifer didn't even tell her when she went abroad. Just treated her like she wasn't even human. Jennifer didn't come to this reunion, right? Don't let this get out. Relax. Even if she did, I'd say it right to her face. The table erupted in laughter. The next thing I knew, Jennifer was standing right behind the guy, lifting a hot dish off the table and dumping it over his head. I scrambled to stop her, but not having worn heels in years, I twisted my ankle. Her ever-useful bodyguards immediately formed a protective wall around her, keeping everyone else at bay. I looked down and cursed quietly. Who the hell made these boozy drinks look so much like soda? She was clearly drunk. The room descended into chaos. I limped my way over and placed a hand on Jennifer's shoulder. It trembled slightly under my touch. I was about to ask if she was okay when she suddenly turned and wrapped me in a tight hug. Her makeup was ruined, face streaked with tears. Her voice was choked with sobs, her eyes full of pain. "Is this what they've been saying about you all this time? While I wasn't here? Why didn't you ever tell me?" Jennifer was swaying and slurring, and I was half limping. We had no choice but to get a nearby hotel room for the night. I helped her into the room with great effort. She collapsed face first onto the bed. I resigned myself to the task, took the pajamas from her bodyguard, helped her change, then knelt beside the bed to remove her makeup. She was restless in her sleep, mumbling like a kitten. Secretly, I thought she looked much better asleep. Awake, she was too sharp-tongued. Suddenly, she sat up, locking eyes with me. I had no idea where the strength came from, but she grabbed me and pulled me onto the bed. As our eyes met again, I was struck by how beautiful hers were, untouched by the grime of the world. The whites so clear, not a speck of haze. Jennifer's lips quivered, and tears fell instantly. I fumbled for tissues to wipe her face, gently asking, "What's wrong?" She didn't answer, just kept crying. Her tears spilled like broken pearls, one by one, onto unseen places. I could only sit beside her, silently handing her tissues. "Jessica, don't be so nice to me," she suddenly blurted out. I froze, unsure what she meant. "It's all my fault. That's why they bullied you. If it weren't for me, they wouldn't say those things." I gave her a helpless smile. "It's okay. I don't blame you. I blame them for being heartless." She started recounting all our memories in detail. I was getting sleepy and let out an unconscious yawn, but she caught my hand and yanked it. "Don't fall asleep! Listen to me!" I nodded, resigned to keep listening. I didn't realize we had so many memories. Even I had forgotten most of them. Like every drop of wine can't return to the original grape, I couldn't return to who I was. When she got to the part about our falling out, she paused, and then more tears came. "I don't even know what got into me. I just didn't want you hanging out with them. I knew it was just a silly paper-tearing game, but when you said it wasn't what I thought, that it wasn't gross. What's gross, exactly? In your eyes, is two girls kissing gross? Is two girls being in love gross?" I rushed to explain. "That's not what I meant. I just blurted it out without thinking." But she didn't listen. She sobbed so hard she could barely breathe. I opened a bottle of water, trying to coax her into taking a sip. The next second, something soft pressed against my lips. I stared at her in shock, wide-eyed. Jennifer didn't seem to think anything was wrong. She squinted and smiled. "Well now, you're just as gross as me." Something snapped in my brain. I could only hear my heartbeat. So now, I was just as gross? So that's why she cut ties with me, because she'd already sensed her feelings toward me, and I'd said the word gross during her most vulnerable moment. She thought that's how I saw it, that this kind of feeling wouldn't be accepted by me. My mind went blank. Every sound faded. And yes, I was gross, because my body still lingered in that kiss. In that moment, I finally understood all the thoughts and longing I had for Jennifer were forms of love. I had been blind, unable to see even my own heart. Jennifer, not getting a response from me, grew anxious. She reached for my neck, her eyes still brimming with unshed tears. "Do you really not get it? Everything I said before was just out of anger. From now on, I'll be your dog, okay? Just don't ignore me." The next time I saw Jennifer, it was on a gossip page. Heiress of Double X Group rumored to be engaged to heir of Double X Group. Even though the image was pixelated, I recognized her instantly. And yes, that day I ran. I ran like hell. In a world dominated by the mainstream, anything that doesn't conform is seen as deviant. But even after leaving her, I still felt miserable. I chose this path myself, so why did it still hurt? Maybe it was the memory of her lips, that brief touch, the feeling of our hands clasped outside the office building. In that moment of physical contact, I knew deep down we were from two different worlds. I couldn't give her happiness. I didn't even have the means to provide for myself. How could I dare to promise her anything? Jennifer, I love you so, so much. If I had money, I would have stood in front of her and said, "All the luxury handbags you love, I'll buy them all. Come with me." But I couldn't be that selfish. Without me, she'd be happier, right? I didn't look for a job. I just scrolled endlessly through the same few apps I'd already worn thin. I knew I was avoiding reality. Until one day, by accident, I downloaded a very familiar-looking app. The moment I logged in, 99+ messages popped up in the chat box. "Why are you so late today?" "I didn't get the fried yellow croaker I love. What should I do? Physics is hard. Chemistry is hard. Studying is hard." The screen was filled with messages from someone named Jennifer. "Why are you so busy? Is college really that hard? That painful?" As I read, tears streamed down my face. The messages were from years ago. Jennifer had been rambling on every day, never once asking why I didn't reply. Because that was the most stressful time of senior year. I scrolled straight to the day after the college entrance exam. "Jessica, did you stop using this app? Why did you call me gross?" It's not like I meant to fall for you. You're just too good. It's your fault, really." "Jessica," I lied. "I never hated you." "Jessica, if you knew I liked you, would you still want to be friends?" "Jessica, I'm going abroad." "Jessica, I lost so much weight." None of the clothes I brought fit anymore. "The food here is awful. I wish we could go back to eating street food outside the school." "Jessica, what's college like in China? Can you tell me about it?" "Jessica, happy graduation. Wishing you a bright future." "Jessica, I miss you so much." On this side of the screen, I was already sobbing uncontrollably. "While you were missing me, I was thinking about you too." She hadn't left without saying goodbye. She hadn't gone abroad behind my back. She was just stubborn. So sure I'd eventually log back in, reply to her messages, and we'd keep chatting on that obscure little app Best Friends again. "Jennifer, how could you be so foolish?" I dialed her number. "Jennifer, if I tell you I love you now, is it too late?" I tried my best to keep from breaking down, to keep my voice calm. "But I'm getting married," she finally said after a long silence. It was what I'd expected, yet still, my heart sank. "Will you be happy?" Jennifer exploded. "Happy, my ass! How could I be happy if I'm not with you? You were the first person I ever fell for. Do you even know what a white moonlight is?" "You're so damn late. What's the point of saying all this now?" Her yelling made my ears ring. "No, Jennifer. You have to be happy. If I can't see you happy, I'll be miserable." I couldn't hold it in any longer. My tears fell fast and hard. When I wasn't by her side, how did she get through all the pain? Her first love something the world refused to accept, something not mainstream left her with no one to talk to. She must have been so sad. "Okay, stop crying so loud. You're making too much noise. Buy me a bun, okay? The same kind you got at the convenience store that day. Bring the felted star I made you. Then maybe I'll consider being with you." Jennifer couldn't hold back a laugh and interrupted. My crying. I froze. "Wait, what about the wedding?" "Fake." Jennifer counted on her fingers from the other end of the call. "The engagement's fake. The wedding's fake, too. Just a bunch of nonsense made up by gossip accounts." I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. That little felt star, I'd kept it this whole time.